The divine heir. Last we stood together was your uncle's funeral.
Lord Genichiro. Thank you.
Leave this to me.
So the noble shinobi stands in our way.
Hello YouTube, and welcome to the beginning of my Sekiro Shadows Die Twice lore series. I'm planning on making a few lore videos about the different characters in the game, and I thought I would start talking about the main antagonist, Genichiro Ashina. Genichiro is one of the tougher bosses in the game, and he's probably a big roadblock for a lot of players. You first see him in the beginning of the game when you try to escape with Lord Kuro. Obsessed with power, strength, and his goal of protecting Ashina and restoring it to glory at all costs, Genichiro moves quickly and his attacks are dangerous. One wrong move and he'll make you regret it. But who is Genichiro, and what is his story? Hopefully by the end of this video you'll have a better understanding of his character. Genichiro was born into a peasant family. After the rebellion that Ishin had led and after the death of Genichiro's mother, he would later be adopted by the Ashina clan. He would be raised as Ishin's grandson and would later train under Lady Tomoe. I think I'm saying her name right. Lady Tomoe was a master of the Fountainhead Palace techniques and a descendant of the Okami warrior women from the Fountainhead Palace. Lady Tomoe is the reason Genichiro is able to use lightning as a weapon. Genichiro would soon become Ishin's successor and leader of the Ashina clan. Following the events of the Hirata estate invasion 3 years prior to the game's events, Genichiro would begin to seek immortality and to create an immortal army. The death and destruction at Hirata estate was very severe, as we see when we ourselves go back in time and play this section of the game, and this would be considered a huge hit on the Ashina clan. It was shortly after this attack that Genichiro would keep the divine heir Lord Kuro locked in the Moon Tower. Genichiro wanted Kuro to give him the power of the dragon heritage and grant true immortality for himself and his future army. Kuro constantly refuses and Genichiro gets frustrated. The Moon Tower is where we first meet Kuro. When we go to retrieve Kuro, he tells us of a secret passage we can use to escape together. Genichiro somehow found out about this and had been waiting for us in the fields, and this is the first duel we as the shinobi have with him.
忍びとてこの程度か。巫女はもらっていくぞ。
Most players end up losing this battle as they are supposed to, although some folks were able to actually beat him. Either way, this battle is where Wolf the Shinobi becomes seriously injured and loses his arm. After this happens, Genichiro would end up taking Kuro from Wolf, completely foiling their escape plan. After these events, we find out Genichiro is preparing his army for a huge attack. After Kuro kept refusing to grant immortality to Genichiro, he would at some point drink the rejuvenating sediment, which gave him a form of immortality, although there are consequences to this method and it is still possible to die via the Mortal Blade. The next time we see Genichiro, he would be at the top of Ashina Castle, with Emma and Kuro, and the following cutscene plays.
How is grandfather?
Lord Ishin is. It's a wonder he is still with us. A miracle.
Is that so? Divine Heir, I'll ask you once more. Accept me into your immortal oath.
I cannot do that, Lord Genichiro. Your victory that day means nothing. He will risk his life to take me home. For he is my shinobi.
My lord, I have come for you. This will only take a moment.
Let's see. For as long as you are alive, the dragon's blood can never be mine.
Genichiro learns from Emma that Ashina is dying, and he asks Kuro once more to help him become immortal. Kuro refuses, and that is when Wolf arrives to fight Genichiro once again, but this time with much more experience and power under his belt. Genichiro is dead set on obtaining the dragon blood to reach immortality, and he thinks to himself he must kill Wolf in order to obtain it, and this is where the boss fight begins. So the mandatory fight with Genichiro on the top of Ashina Castle contains 3 phases. This is a very epic battle between 2 skilled swordsmen. Many players struggle with this fight, but once they eventually beat it, the satisfaction is so amazing. I know it was for me when I first played it. In the first 2 phases, Genichiro fights using his sword and his bow and arrows. He has a few different moves, and some of the attacks get to be too much, but if you understand the combat, then it isn't too bad. Once you take him down in the first 2 phases, the 3rd phase, Genichiro reveals his lightning power, also called the Lightning of Tomoe. This is where we see how desperate Genichiro is to not only fulfill his duties to Ashina, but to do it by any means necessary. We kind of see how he starts losing his humanity. We also see that his eyes have become red, indicating he drank the rejuvenating sediment, and has the corrupted form of immortality.
Impressive, shinobi of the Divine Heir. You deserve better. Would you not answer to a different lord?
Heresy.
Heresy, you say? If it is for the sake of preserving Ashina, I will seize any manner of heretical strength. I will endure any burden. Behold the lightning of Tomoe.
What's awesome about this phase is that we get to use the lightning reversal move that we obtained shortly before the fight, and it definitely comes in handy here. The intensity and atmosphere in this fight is just so amazing. After you beat the 3rd phase, Genichiro vocalizes how important Ashina is to him and how he'll do whatever it takes to protect it, as we see in this cutscene.
You were victorious, I see.
Are you?
I mean you no harm. Shinobi of the Divine Heir. Lord Genichiro, is this the rejuvenating waters?
Ashina, this land is everything to me. For her sake, I will shed humanity itself.
Resurrection.
Yes. Indeed. So.
We see him jump off the roof and disappear. Since he drank the rejuvenating sediment, he was able to survive all the stab wounds from the battle with Wolf, so this isn't the last you see of him. Toward the end of the game, we find him one more time in the very same place where we first meet him in the beginning of the game, and this starts the final boss fight, assuming you're not doing the Shura ending. Now at this point, Genichiro really isn't a threat here, he's more of a preliminary phase before we fight the actual final boss fight. Although one thing to point out is Genichiro now carries the Black Mortal Blade, which is similar to the Red Mortal Blade that Wolf finds and wields. It's not clear where Genichiro got this blade. Some say it was a gift from Lady Tomoe, others say he found it somewhere in the depths of Ashina.
Shinobi of the Divine Air, we meet again. Behold, the second mortal blade.
Genichiro. If you think you can change Ashina's fate with such a thing, you are mistaken. Wolf. No one has the right to the dragon's heritage. It is no one's to bear. I wish there was another way.
It's all right. One last time.
Yes. Let's finish this.
Once you defeat Genichiro in this final battle, he finally concedes. However, as he is dying, he pulls one last desperate attempt at defeating Wolf by summoning a relative, Ishin the Sword Saint, except this is a young Ishin and not the old man we met in the game. Genichiro does this by using the Black Mortal Blade that he wields. While this is happening, somehow Ishin the Sword Saint is straight up coming out of Genichiro's body. As strange as it is, you just can't look away, and that begins the true final boss fight. Since this video is about Genichiro, I won't go in depth about Ishin, although I may make a video about him in the future. So one question we might ask ourselves is, was Genichiro really a bad guy? Now, although he is one of the main antagonists of the game, and although he did a lot of questionable actions, I really don't consider him a bad guy. I think he had good intentions, but clearly went about the wrong way of trying to accomplish his goals due to actions such as drinking the sediment and keeping Kuro locked away. He was willing to do anything to save and protect Ashina to the point where he would lose his humanity in doing so. It didn't seem like he cared about consequences as long as he could achieve his goals. While the goal is noble, the actions were questionable and sometimes even cruel. Another question we might ask ourselves is, what would have happened if Kuro gave him true immortality? So even though Genichiro had a form of immortality from the rejuvenating sediment, he could still be killed by the Mortal Blade. If Kuro would have given Genichiro true immortality, I think that he would have started out as a decent protector and leader, but then over time become sort of a ruthless dictator. I think that even though Genichiro has a noble goal in protecting Ashina, having true immortality and commanding an immortal army would have gone to his head to the point where he would have thought he was a sort of god. I believe any person who has too much power can easily fall into the trap of having a godlike complex. This is just my opinion. Genichiro is a great antagonist in the story and one of my favorite boss fights in the game. While he had a noble cause, in the end his lust for power led to his downfall. He was someone willing to curse himself if it meant protecting Ashina and restoring it to glory. A true challenge in the game and an unforgettable character. If you have any questions or any lore of your own to add, please feel free to do so in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.